On the supplier side for the pros, could you share a little bit more about what that experience is like for them and that kind of value prop? If we kind of break down both sides of the marketplace a little bit.
Yeah. So for pros, and I like that you started with pros, because I think many marketplace founders tend to have they have a tendency to immediately index on the customer as opposed to on the supply side, right? And many markets are demand constrained, not supply constrained, but my working assumption is that all marketplaces are supply constrained over time, right? If you're successful enough, that's always going to be your gating factor. So starting with supply is critical because we operate under the assumption that, yes, we can make the booking experience and the process of finding a great pro and kind of managing your service 10x better for the end consumer versus the status quo, which is fairly poor today. But all of the shiny, slick UI elements and kind of polish on the front end isn't going to matter if the customer walks out their front door and the yard is hacked up, right? So the quality of pros on your platform is functionally the quality of your entire service, and everything else is window dressing. And so how do you maximize quality of pros on your platform and kind of drive density of supply at scale without shredding quality, which is a kind of perennial challenge? That gets back to value props for pros and why you exist at all, right? Like, what is the fundamental value you're bringing to their side of the table? And so the way we think about that is our lawn pros are great, again, domain experts at everything that grows. They've been mowing lawns for an average of 10 years or more. They've forgotten more about grass varieties and soil composition and fertilizer stuff than I've ever learned, but they are often not using much in the way of software. So what we do is we start by bringing them a huge pipeline of new customer demand, right? So instead of them beating the streets and hanging door hangers and trying to drum up new customers through legacy advertising models or navigating snake oil SEO salespeople and spending too much on Google ads, we bring them a huge pipeline of $0 cost demand. So you can pick up any jobs you want. You see exactly what a job pays out up front. We try to coordinate and drive density within your existing routes so that you can get better economics as we scale. And that's kind of value prop A. Value prop B is we give them a full suite of field service software that they run on their smartphones. And this handles everything from job routing and clustering to really automating much of the back office behind their business. So customer support, accounting, taxes, all of it. And the net of it is that we free them up to spend much more time working in their business versus on their business and give them scale that they otherwise wouldn't be able to see. And we think about it kind of we're arming the rebels and the 500,000 lawn care companies that are two-person shops and giving them the software tools to compete with the large, massive, 500-pound gorillas in our space that are doing billions of dollars a year in revenue, and letting them kind of leveling the playing field for them so they can build better businesses and drive much better economics over time. Job routing is a great example of this. Pros not only don't have the tools to solve things like the traveling salesman problem, which is an NP hard problem, they also don't have the demand density to meaningfully apply a tool, even if it was given to them, right? They can use a service like Jobber, right? There's SaaS for field service professionals out there, but none of that means anything if you don't have density of demand in a geo. And what we're able to do is we're able to get that kind of scale demand and maximize the density of routes for our individual pros, which has a profound effect on their economics and how much they make every month. If you think about it, you ask a lawn pro what they do, they'll ostensibly tell you that they mow lawns for a living, but in practical terms, they're actually a professional driver. They spend 40 to 50% of their time behind the windshield. And so getting them out of their cars and onto more lawns dramatically affects their economics and how well their businesses perform. And that's a large part of our value prop and kind of what we bring to the supply side of the market.